our hurt, our insecurities. Do you believe that a lot of us have been conditioned to use sex as a way to bury our emotions? And if so, what are some healthier ways we should be dealing with our emotions as men?
Yeah, definitely. Men who use sex, drugs, other vices to mask what they might truly be feeling on the inside, right? What we can teach brothers is that when it comes to your emotions and your feelings and being vulnerable, therapy is a good start, right? Heading with a therapist to talk about how you feel, finding a safe space, events like we're at today, or healing circles we do with black men. Early last year we was at Temple University. We had over 200 men there in a healing circle, just affirming each other, being there for each other. Those are positive ways that we can go into the community and create meaningful change to remind brothers that you're not alone. Because when you feel alone, so I just don't want you to talk to no one that can relate to you. Likely it leads to doing things and coping in unproductive ways. And we've seen that play out in real life when it comes to brothers being in jail, brothers being dead, brothers out there having multiple kids. They belong back to your book, right? When it comes to the sexual abuse. So I feel like if we can reshape the stigma around mental health and wellness, right? And say, look, it's cool to have these conversations and create spaces where men can come together collectively, holistically, heal together, and we can avoid a lot of
Great. We got two more questions. In the book, it also has a quote that says, "Show me a man that's chasing sex, and I'll show you." I agree. I totally agree. In the book, it also says there's a statement that says, "Sex is not therapy, and we should not use it as a coping skill to cover up our pain, our hurt, our insecurities." Do you believe that a lot of us have been conditioned to use sex as a way to bury our emotions? And if so, what are some healthier ways we should be dealing with our emotions as men?
Yeah, definitely. Men who use sex, drugs, other vices to mask what they might truly be feeling on the inside, right? What we can teach brothers is that when it comes to your emotions and your feelings and being vulnerable, therapy is a good start, right? Heading with a therapist to talk about how you feel, finding a safe space, events like we're at today, or healing circles we do with black men. Early last year we was at Temple University. We had over 200 men there in a healing circle, just affirming each other, being there for each other. Those are positive ways that we can go into the community and create meaningful change to remind brothers that you're not alone. Because when you feel alone, so I just don't want you to talk to no one that can relate to you. Likely it leads to doing things and coping in unproductive ways. And we've seen that play out in real life when it comes to brothers being in jail, brothers being dead, brothers out there having multiple kids. They belong back to your book, right? When it comes to the sexual abuse. So I feel like if we can reshape the stigma around mental health and wellness, right? And say, look, it's cool to have these conversations and create spaces where men can come together collectively, holistically, heal together, and we can avoid a lot of
Great. We got two more questions. In the book, it also has a quote that says, "Show me a man that's chasing sex, and I'll show you." I agree. I totally agree. In the book, it also says there's a statement that says, "Sex is not therapy, and we should not use it as a coping skill to cover up our pain, our hurt, our insecurities." Do you believe that a lot of us have been conditioned to use sex as a way to bury our emotions? And if so, what are some healthier ways we should be dealing with our emotions as men?
Yeah, definitely. Men who use sex, drugs, other vices to mask what they might truly be feeling on the inside, right? What we can teach brothers is that when it comes to your emotions and your feelings and being vulnerable, therapy is a good start, right? Heading with a therapist to talk about how you feel, finding a safe space, events like we're at today, or healing circles we do with black men. Early last year we was at Temple University. We had over 200 men there in a healing circle, just affirming each other, being there for each other. Those are positive ways that we can go into the community and create meaningful change to remind brothers that you're not alone. Because when you feel alone, so I just don't want you to talk to no one that can relate to you. Likely it leads to doing things and coping in unproductive ways. And we've seen that play out in real life when it comes to brothers being in jail, brothers being dead, brothers out there having multiple kids. They belong back to your book, right? When it comes to the sexual abuse. So I feel like if we can reshape the stigma around mental health and wellness, right? And say, look, it's cool to have these conversations and create spaces where men can come together collectively, holistically, heal together, and we can avoid a lot of
Very nice.
Yo, what it do? Newbies, you are not in the wrong place. The lifers will tell you this is your favorite coach's favorite coach, your favorite fat freckle man, the big dog himself. Who? Host of the Life Be Lifing podcast. Yeah. And we have with us a returning friend of the podcast. We have a licensed professional in the building. We got my boy, man, good brother to have on your in your corner, man. We have the one, the only AB Bracewell. Welcome back, brother.
Oh, thanks for having me back, Coach. How you feeling today? I
Blessed,
appreciate it.
man. Blessed. We 2-0, baby.
You
2-0.
my,
Y'all seen
my
my post
body feel
about
like
men's
an
league.
0-2.
Y'all might have seen some of my posts on Facebook about men's league. This is also one of my teammates. So, you know what I'm saying? When I say like we locked in, it's a brotherhood, it's real on multiple fronts. Although he is a Knicks fan, so he had to laugh at our expense uh,
Hey,
with the playoff, you know what I mean,
listen,
being what it
you
is.
know, I love you, brother, because I'm missing the game right now to be here. You gotta be loved.
That's real. That's real. So let's get into it. Let's see. We got a couple of people in the chat. The Ferriers are here. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. The Ferriers, for those who don't know, is my bro Russ and the sponsor of the Two Kings and 215 podcast, the owner of Simply Nashay Catering, Denver's mom, Keish with the K. And I guess since he said the Ferriers, I guess I can announce it that they are actually getting married. They are married. They are now one. They have come together in holy matrimony, as they say. So, big ups for love, black love, and marriage still happening despite what the narratives are saying. Black love is alive in 2026. You heard? Speaking of that, that's a perfect segue into the fact that social media will have you believe in a lot of things. uh, and there's been a lot of conversations recently about black love and black couples and men and women, and it's just fueling the gender war. And of course it takes front and center stage on social media of all places. Whichever app, there's the discourse, there's the discussion. um Definitely congratulations to them.
Congrats.
So there was that big discourse for like damn near 2 weeks about Clay and Meg breaking up. And again, this is not a podcast where we care about celebrities, their personal lives, to the point where we getting into the details or anything like that. But previously I did an episode where I discussed how the conversation has like manifested itself in such a nasty way, even giving y'all that clip to where the young girl, I say young girl, but she's a grown woman, to where she the the lady who does hoops for hotties on IG and wherever else she does it, uh started her conversation out talking about, Clay doesn't get it. It's real parasocial over here. I would protect Megan with my life if need be. And it's like, whether she said it tongue in cheek or whether she meant it, that's just crazy to say. That is crazy to say, but you can't even rule out that she might have meant it, because as her conversation goes on, she starts to use words like we. We who? Them two were dating. It's like, oh, we thought Clay was this good guy, and who is we, Shorty? You run hoops for hotties. You know what I'm saying? And you speaking in this collective, and I think that that's just dangerous, right? That level of groupthink is dangerous. But I ain't no licensed professional to speak on how the mind works and how it impacts people. I just gave my opinion. That's why I have you here to speak on it more in a more nuanced way than maybe I was able to. So, what's your take when you see these kind of situations, and how like not only are they impacting people individually, you got couples getting into beefs about this stuff, bro.
Yeah. It reminds me of like what we call vicarious trauma. It's like
Mm,
when people experience hurt, pain, loss, fear through another person's situation. So I always like to use the example like back in the day when 9/11 happened. It happened in a specific place. It happened in New York City. You know, people that was in the Twin Towers, people that was in the city. It impacted them directly, but it didn't just stop there. It touched the entire world. And all around the world, people were scared to get on planes during that time. And I think that's the same thing that happens to like social media. We talk about this situation with Clay and Megan the Stallion. Like people are taking on and personalizing that hurt. They're traumatized through somebody else's pain, and it happens on all different levels because
mhm.
um, if you watch another person's relationships and you idolize it or you use that to validate yourself, if once that relationship breaks up or if it disappoints you or it doesn't live up to the expectation that you had because you put yourself in those shoes, I guess that for a lot of women that probably became their hope. It became their hope that you can probably live a certain lifestyle or portray yourself a certain way, and but still when you decide to hang up those shoes, that you can get into a healthy relationship with a guy that they perceived as a good guy. But then when it all, broke down and when it ended, they took on that hurt as if they was in a relationship. So, they was talking about weed because they took it really personal. But I think that's it's like the same thing I talk about a lot. People get traumatized through other people's situation because we personalize it or we projected their situation on us. And I think when we see those clips where people putting themselves in a situation talking about we and this and that, like I think that's what they did. That's what they
Mhm.
did. They was picturing themselves in Megan's shoes probably, and like, hey, if
Damn.
she could do it, I could do it too. And but when it all fell apart, they felt the same pain.
Sheesh. I mean, and because crazy is such a dismissive word, but
Mm,
I feel like that's the accurate word for how could you manage to attach yourself? Like it's one thing when your homegirl get married or your homeboy get married. Y'all grew up with them or y'all been around them a certain amount of time. So you literally seen the inner workings of certain things. But people,
mhm,
like you said, attach themselves to Megan like, yeah, we know what's released to the press and we know what she allows us to see in these situations that we seen her in or whatever might have came out during the trial, right?
mhm,
Um, but it's like you still do not know Megan Pete. You don't. You don't.
yeah.
So what is it you think makes grown people, because like young people, of course we understand they're very impressionable, they haven't found themselves, they're still searching for who they want to be. So Megan Thee Stallion is going to be the role model for someone in their teens, someone in their early 20s,
Mhm.
wildly enough maybe somebody in their early 30s. But bruh, I'm talking about the vitriol was coming from women in their 40s, and I just I can't connect with that level of, I don't know. Again, I'm trying not to be disrespectful, but it seems like desperation for you to need to connect yourself to Megan. Is she even 30? I don't even know if she's 30 yet.
I
But
don't,
like this younger girl this younger woman who's going through life, unfortunately, because she's a celebrity, she's going through it publicly. But you still don't know her, and you still don't know most of the sides of her story.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
And
why do you think that people feel that need to connect to her like that?
to be honest, I think we all do it on some level.
Okay.
We all do it on some level. Like even for instance, like before we started, we was talking about the Knicks. When it comes to sports, we do it. Like after a
Yeah.
while, when we talking about a team that we like, we saying, "Oh, we lost, so we should do this, we should do that." So we all do it when we like consume or just watch or kind of get obsessed over a certain thing. we start having some type of emotional connection to it, whether it's Megan and
Fair.
her music, or whether it's our favorite team and they lose. You know, we start having some type of attachment, some type of connection. So when something happens to him or them or whatever that we connected to, like we feel it. We
Yeah.
feel it, even though so we start living vicariously through our favorite artists, or through our favorite team, or whoever we like. Um, so I understand it on that level, but at a certain point, we do have to step back and check ourselves. We're like, listen, that whatever that person is doing, that's their lives. And I can't get so emotionally caught up in it that I'm arguing with people and defending her position and defending what happened and acting like, this was my sister, my friend, or even me. Like that's
Yeah.
that's that's their lives. So at a certain point you gotta stop yourself. You can't go so deep where you creating enemies and getting into arguments over the internet when you, like you said, you don't know the ins and outs of their situation. To be honest, like I see the headlines, I hear rumors here and there, but I who really knows what happened? I don't really know what happened between those two.
None of us
Um,
do.
yeah, so it would be silly to try to defend something that we really don't know, that we just see on the social media. And people make up stuff all the time and create stories, but that's what happens. Like when we start to consume stuff all the time and we develop that emotional attachment, like we feel like that person is a part of us or a part of
Mm.
our family or whatever it might be. So we feel it, and it seems. I think the bad part about it is because what she represented, or what she promotes, I should say, is, I would say not generally good for a woman to really connect to or to try to portray. So that makes it seem a little bit worse. Like, okay,
Oh,
like,
be careful now, Adam. You know that's putting a target on your back.
well, listen, it is. Well, it is what it is. Like, it's my opinion. In my
I,
opinion, like,
and I
you know,
respect it.
so so you know, so I think that's what makes it seem a little bit weird. Like, why are we defending this so much? But.
But I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing too. That's a good point, bro. Look how MJ still got a lot of us. You right. Um, but I think that's the thing too, that even when you speak about like because clearly, like one of the things is clearly um even when you take those two, they're perceived differently among the genders, right? Like to most women, Clay is a square. Was it before this? Clay was a square. You know what I mean? He was either a complete nobody because he wasn't into sports, or he was a pretty good athlete or a really good athlete. But when they thought of him as a person, they thought of him as a square, a L7, a cornball. You know what I'm saying? A lame, maybe even. Whereas in, you know what I mean, women, I guess, find themselves, and I'm not a woman lady, so feel free to correct me where I'm wrong at. But those who actually attach to her, not her music, but those who actually like attach themselves to her feel as though they feel like freedom in what she's, I guess rapping about and put forward. And like you said, the image of, what is it, sexual liberation, I feel like is the proper term.
Mhm.
Female empowerment, I guess. Um, and they feel like, I guess, because she continues to be successful while doing these things. Like I even hear people mention how she graduated from college, which is dope in and of itself. But like I said, like I don't follow no entertainer that deeply,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? But I guess because she is having levels of success despite certain tragedies she's going through. I guess that's also like those kind of like triumph through adversity stories. I guess that's another reason why people get attached. But like you said, it's the level of it. Like
Mhm.
let's be honest. Yes, I could completely understand getting attached, but like I think it's psycho that it's a fact that every February domestic violence stats go through the roof because it's a bunch of weird ass males punching on a women over the
Mhm.
Super Bowl. Like
Mhm.
that's not conjecture. That is a fact that
Mhm.
every February domestic violence goes up because men are committing domestic violence over the Super Bowl. You males are fucking losers, by the way. Um, Not that it's ever a good time to start putting your hand on a female, but losing your control of your emotions over a game, over people who don't know you're alive.
Mhm.
Yes, he signed your jersey and he won't recognize you next week, fam. So
Yeah.
like because he's that team is losing, you decide to put your hands on your female. It's crazy. But like I said, I could get the relation and how that works. But like you said, it's like at that point, like you're in really bad shape. I think that it would be easy to admit, like, that those men who do that are in really bad shape.
Oh, of
And I
course.
think it's crazy that, well, not crazy, but I think it's interesting that women who find themselves lashing out over these things don't realize that they're just in bad shape. They're just as in bad shape.
Yeah, nah, I agree. Like, and I didn't, I never even knew the correlation between that, like in the raising domestic violence and the Super Bowl. So yeah, that's really crazy.
Yeah, I
That,
found that
that
out some years ago while I was doing
yeah, that's
research for
that
something.
connection there. But yeah, like if you like, to be honest, even us talking about this situation, like I don't even follow pop culture like that. To be
Right.
honest, 'cause I'm so busy focusing on what I'm doing that I read headlines here and there. I might listen to an interview real quick, but after a while, if I hear something on repeat, like I kind of block it out. So
Yep.
it's hard for me to get so emotionally attached to things like that. But I know that then there's a lot of people that don't really have too much going on in their lives, and
Mm,
they are consumed, and their world revolve around pop culture or what's going on in the news, what's going on in music, whatever it might be. That that's what they live for, like the gossip and the rumors and who's dating who's sleeping with who, and it's sad
yeah.
because I don't think we should ever um, be so involved in another person's life that we get, unless it's our kids or our family, that we get an emotional reaction out of what's going on with them.
Right.
So that's one reason why I don't even watch it or follow it. Because I'm like, for one, I'm extremely busy on what I'm doing, and I always think like, what is it doing for me?
Pretty
Like
much.
like you saying, like these guys, if we talk about sports, they might sign your jersey, but I always say, listen, these guys out there making their millions. Like I'm trying to make mine, so I can't
Right.
watch every game. I can't follow every stat as much as I want to and I used to, but I realize I can't put all my energy towards that. And that same thing with who's dating who and who broke up with who cheated on who. It's entertaining is to watch every now and then, but
Right.
after a while, like, okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't. I listen to enough. Yeah, everybody keeps saying the same thing. So,
Facts.
mhm,
Yeah, like, I remember I put a post. I was like, I'm not one of the people that's like laughing at Meg getting cheated on. I'm laughing at y'all reactions, like
mhm,
y'all responses. I don't know any of the details. I didn't know. I didn't even know that post that apparently she had put up to tell everybody what happened. I didn't know nothing about that. I
yeah,
just kept seeing posts, and I was laughing at the ridiculousness
yeah.
of the post. Like y'all don't realize how silly you sound.
Yeah, I think I seen it was like a cartoon or animation of that, like the amount of dudes that she been with. They had them online,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
people
yeah.
was arguing over like a drawing. Like,
Yes,
come on, like,
yes,
like
yes.
did we get mad over something that somebody drew and posted, and then now that's the argument. Like we all when I'm doing any type of work therapy with people, I would say, listen, make up a rule, make a one problem rule where this is the issue, and we're gonna
Mm,
focus on this issue, and we're gonna try to resolve this issue. Don't start adding other stuff on there and bringing stuff from 5 years ago, from 7 years ago, and now you got a boatload of issues that you're trying to figure out. And that's what I seen with that situation. Now people putting out memes and pictures. Now we arguing about that.
yes.
Now we arguing about it. Like now everybody just at each other's throat and we don't even know why. Like, so just I just try to pull myself out of the whole thing. I don't even get involved in it to begin with, to tell you the truth. I see it, but I don't get involved with it.
Listen, if it can't make for quality content for my podcast, I can't do nothing with it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
could absolutely not care about it, which like I said, I don't care about the particulars of their relationship. Like I
Mm-hmm.
seen a video and this girl was mentioning all these, background things because she was trying to make the argument to validate, I guess, how serious Clay was treating her.
We doing some
Because,
real research.
I guess guys on one hand was like, well, he probably didn't even take her that serious. And she's like, clearly he did because and I'm sitting here like, do you have Megan's phone number? Like,
Yeah. Listen, people really
you
be doing
mentioning
some
all
research,
these
some
things.
real
How do you
research.
know all these things, bro? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Stevie Wonder fan, right? So I'll
Mm-hmm.
know something like his real name is Stephen Morris, but I
Mm-hmm.
can't tell you his address from when he grew up. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's not on Wikipedia, I can tell you. And it's stuff on there I still don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I can tell you which age he did fingertips because okay, that's music. I enjoy his music. So they have a date where you could track that back to.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you when he had his first kid or when the fifth kid is. Like I don't know.
Yeah. But you know what? And that just speaks to like the conflict that people like to be involved in. I think some of these people
Mm,
don't know either, but they go and do research just to back up their argument. Like if you're in an argument with um, somebody in a relationship, like we're gonna find everything to back up our argument to defend our position. I'm sure that some of these people they get on there and they start going back and forth, and they do real research
yeah.
because there's no way you know some of these things without really digging. And I'm like, how much time and energy you have to dig into all of this? Imagine what you can accomplish if you put that into like digging into some stuff that's gonna really get you somewhere other than arguing with somebody on the internet. But
Yeah, like
listen.
bro, I like there's people who, okay, you follow them on IG or whatever social media, and you see their stories, but like I couldn't tell you what was in your story last
Mhm.
outside of what I saw you posting this week from your conference or wherever you was at. But
Mhm.
like before that, I couldn't tell you what you had last Monday on your story.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I liked it. I saw it at the time. I liked it, and I moved on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but that people sit there and that'll be up somebody else's. Oh, I'm not doing research. You act like you don't follow them, but you don't see these stories. Like, yes, we see them, but we don't remember all these things. It's too much I have to be able to retain. It's too much in real life that I actually need to try to remember. I need to remember when my son's graduation dues are due. I need to
Mhm. Mhm.
remember, what I mean? Oh, shoot. I needed to remember Mother's Day was coming up to do something for my
Yeah.
wife. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had to remember this bill got to be paid, but this got to be paid first. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Even booking, like I let me grab at him while he's free before he goes on another book tour or something. What all these kinds of things. So like the amount of dedication that people have to go to war, like is
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah, they go look for those ammunition, and then when it's all because the next week it'll be something new.
And
It's something else will pop up. Like so now we're gonna argue about that. Like every week is something different. Like
every
people
week is
like
something
the
different.
yeah, this making thing like this is almost old news now.
It
Like
right.
because it was something hot, something next hot was on online. So it's
Listen, right now the Cheyenne Bryant thing is dying down. It's only stuck as long because she fought it so bad. This would have been old news by now, but she kept fighting it.
yeah.
And I guess why we have you here because I somebody told me because they know I'm not the biggest fan of Umar, so somebody was like, "Hey, your boy out here defending her or whatever." Uh, you know how people love to do that, your boy stuff when they know you don't like
The boy.
somebody. But they was like, yeah, your boy out here defending her, and I was like, oh, one fraud defending another. So like,
Mm-hmm.
why would you be surprised? Why would I be surprised? I didn't watch it. I'm not gonna. He's not worth my time.
Yeah, I
Um,
seen it. I seen it.
but I guess give us your take on, because the one thing that I'm sure he said is that if he defended her, he had to say there's no harm in what she's doing, which
Mhm.
is contrary to what I've heard other, licensed therapists say. And even a life coach was like, yeah, no, like I'm a life coach. I'm not a licensed therapist. And even I think what she's doing is harmful. So from your professional, what you had to do to get your PhDs, to become licensed and everything, give us your standpoint on whether or not you feel as though you think just misleading people to think that are a licensed therapist. Like, is that in itself harmful?
So first, let me correct you. See, and this is something she should have did. I don't have a PhD. I'm a licensed therapist.
Thank you.
Very, it's very simple. Like it's not only harmful like for yourself. It is harmful to the field because people trust us with some very deep, hurtful, confidential information, and they expect us to hold on to it. So there's a lot of trust in us in our profession, the helping profession. So if we don't operate with some level of transparency or even I should say integrity,
Hmm.
like you lose that trust automatically. And we know how this field works or how people just operate. Like they will generalize that to the entire field. Like if one person is lying or making stuff up or things just don't seem aligned, that can affect a lot of people, especially somebody as popular as her. It has such a following as her. Like that can spill over. People will start to generalize any any and every person that called themselves a therapist. So I can see how it can impact a lot of different people in that way. I mean, personally, I I see a lot of people online talking about all the work that we put in to get to where we were, the study and the supervision hours, the internships that we had to do, all those things, and I understand it, the ethics of it, and I understand that piece, but to be honest, I I think she violated. I shouldn't say violated. She lives by a universal principle, and I think this is what happened to her. I don't think most people care the fact that she's licensed or not licensed. The
Mm,
average person, but all I can remember is that she gained most of her popularity from like the Cam Newton interview,
mm-hmm.
some from the Nick
Nick
Cannon
Cannon.
interview.
Mm-hmm.
And in those interviews, she was brutally honest. She, and I'm not saying it wasn't justified.
Right.
She was brutally honest. She held no punches. She looked for every little chink in their armor to attack or to point the finger. And to be honest, I just think it's like if you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and that's how she gained her notoriety by being brutally honest, calling people out on their mess.
Mm-hmm.
And once people found out that she had some mess, oh well, we're gonna treat you the same way. We're gonna treat this the same way. Like there's a saying that said, what don't throw rocks if you live in a glass house.
Yep.
It's a biblical saying those without a sin, throw
Cast the
the
first
first
stone.
stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's just universal principles. So I'm not surprised that once people found out that this is something that's not in line with you, that they jumped on it, because that's how she got popular. Like I think she was out before that, but when she
Yeah.
really started getting known is because she was calling people out on their mess. So
Yeah.
it came back to her. You got some mess, they calling you back out, and they are not letting go.
At
Like
all.
I think I probably watched a couple of things about it. Now it's just up and down my timeline. I'm trying to get rid of it now. Like okay, like but they are on her. But
But like
yeah,
I said, this I definitely blame on her, because she want to go. She want to die on this hill. She she is going to stand on this. She's falling on her. She won't fall on her sword. She's like, she has the sword. Instead of falling on it, she's swinging it like for dear life, no matter how bad she's drowning, to the
Yeah.
point where, and I always say this, right? Like, we all got skeletons in our closet. There's people who know us beyond what the average people know us, right?
Mhm.
Like, you have a platform, I have a platform. One day somebody knows us who knows us beyond our platform might decide to go out there and put some things out in the air about us. May be true, it may not be true. But they'll be like, I'm a trusted source because I knew, AB, or I knew Coach Sense, so forth and so on. So I can tell you, I was there when he did XYZ, da 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 da. And when that day comes, I think the only thing that matters is how you handle it. I
Mhm.
truly
Mhm.
think so. No matter how egregious it may be, I think what matters more than anything else is how you handle it. And I think that for somebody who's been in her business as long as she has, somebody who's been in the front of media for this run that she's been having, for her to handle it so poorly is like, yo, your ego is that bad?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can't tell me this woman not skilled. She knows how to speak publicly.
Yeah. That's
This
a
is her. This is what she does at this point.
Mhm.
Whether you call her a life coach or a therapist, she's known more for what she's saying in front of cameras than what she's saying in offices or via Zoom calls.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the fact that she's doing this poorly a job is like, yo, you need to talk to a therapist, sis, because you need somebody to help you play things out to where you can see for yourself, yo, I'm really hurting myself.
Yeah.
Because you would, like I said, it wouldn't even still be a non-issue if
Yep.
she wasn't so hell bent on not just not just saying, hey, I got my doctorate, so I'm not gonna sit here and tell y'all I don't. It's the confrontational way, the same way, like you said, she didn't hold no punches with
Mhm.
Cam or Nick, or like when she does tonight's conversation.
Mhm.
It's like you're trying to do that with people to the point where you're insulting their intelligence. Like, I saw her a clip of her Breakfast Club interview, and she was like, "Well, what people don't do, which is read, what
Mhm.
people don't do, which is
Yeah.
listen." And it's
It's,
like,
mhm.
is that the way you want to go, Cheyenne?
It's like you hit it right on the head with the pride and the ego. I think that's exactly what's gotten in the way. Because to be honest with you, if she just would have dealt with it just by saying, because there's no shame in being a coach. I don't think it's no
None.
shame. And she said that she has honorary doctorates, I guess. if if you just would have said, "Hey, I call myself doctor because I have honorary doctorates," that probably would have gone away. But I think she tried to explain things about getting these credits and
Hmm.
financial aid, about the like it's just stuff that just made no sense at all. Like
At all.
anybody that went to school know that it makes no sense at all.
Even
But
people who went to schools that lost their accreditation and closed,
yeah,
they don't
like
have no story like that
financial aid cannot take away your transcript. It doesn't work like that.
at
Like
all.
like if you don't pay your money, they can hold your
Yeah,
transcript,
right. You can't get to it, but
but
it exists.
they can't wipe out your credits. It doesn't work. So it's those explanations and her digging her
Her
heels in the
heels, yeah.
sand. Like that's what is really making her look bad. Like sometimes you just I always say like the hardest word in the English language for some people to say is "I'm sorry," or like listen,
I'm
and but
wrong.
yeah, I'm wrong, or something like, and that will wipe off a lot of stuff. If you just were like, yeah, I apologize if y'all felt misled or whatever, and people would have forgot about it. But
That's a fact.
yeah, but it's the pride and the ego stuff that get in the way because listen, or just listen. If I got my doctorate, then if you want to prove people wrong, just show it, show the degree or whatever. But you saying everything, but here's the document, and that the so it's yeah. She's I don't know who's in her corner, or she listens to people, or she has any type of PR person, but they're not advising her right at all. As they
Can't
do.
be
Like she's making it worse for herself, and there's going to be people that still support her, of
for
course.
sure. For
Because to
sure.
be honest, like
People
I
support
never,
who they want to support
yeah,
regardless.
yeah, yeah,
Derek Jackson still had female supporters after everything. So
yeah. But she's gonna lose a lot, if she keeps this up. Or she probably already lost a lot already because it's going far enough. Like people are
yeah,
going
her book
in,
sales is getting hurt.
yeah, like and so I don't, but somebody needs to just tell her like I don't even right now like it's going to be hard to bounce back, but
Yeah,
you need to figure something out. Figure something out. You
gotta
lost a
lay
lot of
low.
credibility with a lot of people. And to be honest with you, like I've listened to her quite a few times, and I would say she's entertaining. Um, she she knows how to keep a conversation going.
Mm-hmm.
She says these real elaborate stories, and she'll sprinkle spirituality here and
Yup.
there that don't always apply, but she'll
She
just
terrible at it, to be
yeah,
honest.
she'll just introduce it like a story. And if you hear her enough, if you listen to her enough, like oh she keeps saying the same story over and
Yes.
over again. So I was never a big fan of her to begin with, but
Right.
it had nothing to do with her being a doctor, PhD,
Facts.
nothing. It was just like she talks, she talks a lot, and
Too
yeah,
much.
yeah, she talks a lot, and I'm not in her sessions, but I just always wonder what the results. What are the results? Who are you really helping?
Yeah.
With what you're doing, because we can get on podcasts and talk and give our
Mm-hmm.
opinion, but the real work comes down like when we're sitting in those sessions with people and for months and months and years and that's and therapy is a
Mm.
process.
Yes,
Like
it
I
is.
can't get on this podcast and say a couple of one-liners and think people are healed. It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Like it's some hard work, it's blood, it's sweat, it's tears, it's digging up traumas, is really having people go back into their life or really trying to change behaviors, which is extremely hard to do. Now, that's what therapy or even life coaching, whatever it might be, the people that's really in the work, they know it's more than just getting on interviews and saying something that sounds good that tickles some people's ears. Yeah, that's good to
That's bar fives.
yeah, but you got to bring them in and so so that's why I'm never a big fan. Wasn't a huge fan of her, but she was entertaining. She's
Yeah.
entertaining. Mhm.
Yeah, she was entertaining. She was nice to look at, and she,
Yeah.
she wants to pretend like it's a curse, but no, you used it like you used this, sis. Like we're not gonna sit there and act like I ain't gonna lie. I had a I haven't been in therapy in a while, but my therapist was a black woman.
Mhm.
I don't ever want Dr. Bellamy coming on wearing the stuff that Cheyenne was wearing to go talk to these brothers. Like what she had
Mhm.
on in the Cam Newton interview. Like what are we doing? What are we doing? What
And
are we doing?
yeah, and it was funny because she would actually call that a session. I heard her on some interview saying
Yeah.
my sessions were live for everybody to see. I was like, she's calling that a session? That's not a session. So I was like, oh, so okay, well, I don't know.
But that's what it
Mhm.
is. It's the misleading language.
Mhm.
And since we talking about pride, ego, and therapy, let's get to that for the people right quick in terms of like what do you think is something that you could suggest for people to get past that pride stopping them from even going, much less like progressing in therapy? Because I know that's a big deal for people. They don't want to even admit they need it. And then
Mhm.
if they start, it's like, again, like you said, admitting that you're wrong here, whether it's couples therapy or individual therapy. I know being able to say that I'm the bad guy in my story is hard for a lot of people.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's still, even though it's getting better, this is still a stigma
Yes.
behind going to therapy, especially in our community. There's still a little stigma where people feel like they, can't control themselves, or mentally or emotionally to go to someone and admit these things is difficult.
Hmm.
And I think one of the biggest things, uh, it takes a lot of accountability in order
Hmm.
for a person to say, "Listen, I need some help. I'm wrong, or my way of thinking is wrong. My behavior is off, and I need to change," because people get so used to their patterns of behaviors. And going to therapy is basically saying, listen, I need to change something about me because something is off, something isn't right, or something about me I don't like, or something about me is messing up all my relationships. And that's a hard thing for people to admit, that I'm the wrong person in this
Hmm.
situation, or the multiple situations I've been wrong. We prefer to blame. We prefer to
Hmm.
project out on others. We prefer to point the finger. So I think that's one of the hardest things about therapy, or somebody admitting that, okay, I think I really need some help. It's like the ultimate accountability that you have to take, and to say, okay, I need to change. We all know change is hard. Change is
Yes,
hard.
sir.
So I think that's probably the most difficult part, or maybe the biggest barriers, I should say, for people coming to therapy. They're just not ready to change.
Mm.
Even when they
Okay.
come to therapy, they may not be ready to change
Yeah.
sometimes, because I explain it a lot when people start therapy with me. I always tell them, like, you're with me for 1 hour out of the week. That's not the real work. The real work is when you leave this office and apply these things to your life, apply these things in your relationship, apply these things in the way you talk to people, the way you process information, your cognitive, your emotions. That's the real work. And
Right.
yeah, and it's hard. It's hard work to break those patterns. Some people come, they try, but they'll fall back into old behaviors, and they get caught up in a cycle. So it's that's why I was saying earlier, like, therapy is a process.
Yes.
And for most people, it's a very long process. That's why we can't just come and say one-liners and say, "Hey, people will heal," or people might like what you said, but once they shut you off, or leave your room, they go back to their lives and continue the same behavior. So it takes a
Facts.
while for it to really take hold and for real change to occur.
Facts. 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 Um, folks, if you have, I put on Facebook for y'all to get y'all questions ahead of time. If y'all had any questions y'all wanted to ask AB, so in a couple of minutes, I'll give y'all space to ask the questions if you have them, or if you could think of a question right quick now that you want to ask, we could do a few before we sign off. Um, what's the last thing I want to get? So all right, let's play this out right quick.
Hmm.
Let's say you the brother, you got somebody who come in and he's like, yo, I am tired of arguing with my girl over these Facebook posts. Like, we got enough issues with each other that we sitting here trying to work out, trying to become a family, and she be coming to me with this stuff that ain't got nothing to do with us. And it's like, if I give the wrong answer, I'm in a dog fight. What am I supposed to do, bro?
Listen, I know people that's really in those situations where, like, social media plays a major part in their relationship. Like, and that's one of the issues with social media. People go there for validation.
Mhm.
It creates like that comparison culture. Like,
Yes.
I'm seeing something on social media. Now I'm comparing my relationship uh, to that. People have a hard time figuring, when it comes to social media, that what stage and what's reality. So all those, and just those conflictual conversations we have, or people have, about social media. So to be honest with you, it's not is not an easy thing to fix. Um, the main thing I often tell people, and that this was with the main thing I tell people, and this with a lot of conflict, is we always got to come back to the communication piece.
Okay.
That's just major in most relationships. Like people don't understand like the intentions versus the impact when it
Impact.
comes to communication. So her intentions might just be to have a conversation. Maybe maybe she's not comparing our relationships to what she's seeing. Um, in her intentions is just to have a conversation, but at the same time, you have to realize the impact that it's having on this man. Like it's hurting the relationship. Is making him withdraw, is making him isolated, is making him frustrated. So at some point, what's more important? Us having these conversations, that's not really related to our relationship, or us having a peaceful relationship and talking about us, talking about our connections and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, it just comes down to a choice and what's healthier for the relationship. If these discussions about what's going on the internet, whether it's with Megan Thee Stallion or what's going on with Dr. Cheyenne Bryan or whoever next found cheated on or whatever, like is it if this is causing an issue in our relationship, maybe we just need to eliminate it. Now
Mm,
there's some couples can sit down and have these conversations with no problem and it's just entertaining. But
right.
if social media is what you use to validate your relationship or you comparing yourself to social media, then that's some internal work that needs to be done with the individual or the couple. Um, so even with that, that takes some work to explore to see what's going on.
Shout out to you, brothers. I remember at one point in time, my relationship was like rough, and it just seemed like social media was like the trigger to whatever we needed to already work through. So I just got to a point where I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this, and she took it offensive at first, but I think after a while of realizing that I wasn't willing to engage, she didn't bring it up no more. So I feel like that was better off
Mm-hmm.
because it was just kind of like I said, like I understand how the dudes be feeling like it's a trap card. It's a trap card.
Yeah.
Like if you side with the wrong answer, like they're telling you this story, and even without social media, I'm sure dudes in relationships have experienced when your girl come to tell you this story about Cindy from accounting and what
Mm-hmm.
she did over there and so forth and so on, and it's like, can you believe he did that? And you got to be like, nah, babe, I can't believe it. Even though you might completely understand that this story, what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, who's in the wrong, but you got to decide whether you go a lie and say, nah, yeah, that person's wrong, or whether you're gonna be like, well, actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because people have a lot of different triggers,
Yes.
and a lot of these, if somebody comes to you with these discussions from social media, it's because it triggered something inside of them. So
Mm,
you give the wrong answer, or I shouldn't even say wrong, an answer that doesn't agree with them. That can lead to it. Now we're in an argument
yeah.
that has absolutely nothing to do with us, but
Yeah.
because it triggered something inside you, you
Because they was betting
personalized
on you
it.
answering a particular way.
Yeah, it's now so now we're in an argument. So let's like let's not create problems where there's no problems. But it happens
That's a bar
all the
right there. Let's not create problems where there ain't none.
time. But it happens all the time. It happens all the time. So yeah, listen. It there's people come to my sessions, couples, and social media could be an issue. It's not only with like discussion topics, but also stuff like, hey, they don't post me enough,
Yep.
or you on social media like there's no sign that you're in a relationship, things like that. All those
Mm-hmm.
things people allow
Okay.
social media to infiltrate on their relationship. So it's just you gotta be real careful these days.
Yep. You like another post, all that. I'm sure
Oh,
you getting all of that.
yeah. And some of the things how do you even know that? How do you know that this person liked this many posts. Like you must be really digging through every post. Like
Whoa, we
you
might
go
have to have
through
an episode about that alone.
investigation. How do you even know? But
Because
you got a lot of
that's a
time.
whole nother
A
snake
lot of
right
time on
there.
your hands.
We got a question in the crowd. What if I'm not quote unquote ready, but I'm ready? I guess in terms of going to therapy. How can I be productive and stay the course? What's some helpful and healthy ways to start? Starting is the hardest part.
What if I'm not? What if I'm not ready, but I'm ready? And what are some helpful? What was the rest of it?
What's some helpful, healthy ways to start? Because starting is the hardest part.
I think some help. I always like to talk about self care because I think that's important for everybody.
Shout out to
Um,
Taya. That's one of my
yeah. So
homegirls who wrote a book called Self Care is Bay. Bay standing for before everyone else. I mean before anyone else. So shout out to her because every
yeah,
time I hear that, it reminds me of her. Continue.
yeah. So sometimes we just have to figure out the things that bring us peace, the things that make us happy, and eliminate some of those things that brings chaos into our lives and create boundaries around it. And implement more of those things that bring us some peace, some joy, some type of tranquility. So I think a lot of it is that we don't know ourselves. We don't know what makes us happy. So I always like to explore with people, like, what are things that you just enjoy doing? And you don't necessarily have to come to therapy for that. Some people do, but just implement more things that make you happy and try to eliminate the stuff that trigger you, the people that trigger you, conversations. If social media is trigger, I always say eliminating or blocking people that makes you frustrated is a part of self care. So don't keep on going back and forth and arguing with people if you know that that's going to frustrate you. Now, yeah,
Mhm.
get off of social media or whatever you want. So it's all about boundaries, learning how to put up boundaries to keep out the things that create chaos and keep in the things that create peace for you.
Great. And do me a quick favor and give me a I don't know about if I'm gonna say PSA, but give me a brief advocacy like slash advertisement for going to therapy.
A brief PSA: mental health is important in everything that we do. To be honest with you, like it impacts the way we socialize with others. It impacts the way we regulate our emotions, the way we deal with stress. All of that is a part of our mental health. And at the same time, all of us have dealt with something. We've all experienced some. We experience stress. People experience trauma. We experience conflicts in relationships. We have some tough relationships. So, and a lot of the times, we cannot figure these things out by ourselves. We need a third person, unbiased person, a voice of reason sometimes. And that's what therapy helps with, really. It's a guide. It's a guide that helps people to get to the goals that they want to get to. It's not magic. It's not no, it's not mind tricks. It's just us trying to walk side by side with another person, trying to resolve issues in their lives. And a lot of the times we need somebody that's outside of us or outside of the issue to see it from to have a bird's eye view on what's going on to help. And we're trained. When we go back to our conversation, we go through years and hours and months of training and constant training and learning and experience to help people with these different issues. So it's not just pulling things out a hat. You know, depending on the type of modality you study, I have a way to help you resolve this problem. I have a way to help you get to a solution. So yeah, I think for those that are struggling and need someone just to help guide them or walk side by side with them, I think therapy is an important tool to utilize.
Awesomely said. Awesomely said. Before we go, do you have anything that you need the lifers to know to tap in with you with or about? Please, you got the floor.
Okay, well, I'm always promoting um, everything I do. The one first of all, you can go to my website. It's Embrace Wellness Therapy. That's my private practice. I'm open and I'm taking clients as well. But I also have some books where you can purchase on that website. So I'm always promoting my books. I have books on how to build healthier relationships. I have books on for just for men on how to become a better man, how to become more disciplined, how to become more responsible with ourselves. And I also have like kids books as well pertaining to topics. So I'm always promoting, and you can always go to any of my social media, AB Bracewell, on Instagram or Facebook, and you can find the things that I'm doing. So yeah.
All right, great, great, great. So y'all heard all that. If you forget, come back to the episode. Definitely check it out. I'll put it on screen again. Embrace Wellness Therapy. You know what I'm saying? Definitely tap in with my guy, man. As y'all can see, he's well versed and the man cares. Like I always like to say that, yes, there's professionals that are good at what they do, and some genuinely have a passion for it. And he's one of the people that has a passion for what he does, to the point where, like I said, it's not just what he's doing in sessions, it's what he's doing in his writing, and it's what he's doing and how he's researching before he puts these books out, the conversations that he's having to set everything up. So like he's really putting in the work, but also like got passion with it to where it matters to him. And I think that's important, right? Having somebody, like, it's cool to see somebody who could hoop, but it makes you feel away seeing somebody who loves the game. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It makes you feel away. So you know what I mean. I'm nothing but respect, bro. Nothing but appreciation.
I appreciate you,
Super
brother.
proud of everything that you do, bro. I
Thank you. Thank
appreciate
you.
when you let
Same.
me tap in with that, bro.
Same here.
Um,
Man. I appreciate you.
but since nobody else dropped their questions in, don't bother me about it when you see this episode later. Oh, I wish I could have. Told y'all 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. But if you want to go ahead and put it in the comments, maybe we'll get him to come back another episode and he'll answer
Yeah,
whatever.
I'll definitely go
Um,
check the comments out too. I'll respond in the
and
comments.
yeah, I'm about to say he does respond to comments, but definitely follow him on Facebook, AB Bracewell. Follow him on Instagram, AB Bracewell. You know what I'm saying? And reach out to him yourself, of course. Book a session if you need it, man.
Mm,
You know what
I
I'm saying?
appreciate you, brother.
Men's health, mental health awareness month is coming up. I will see if I get him back for that, so we could address some things specifically for the brothers. No
Mm,
disrespect, ladies, but you know what I mean. Got to speak to what is there. That being said, I appreciate you for coming on with us, man. On behalf of A.C.E, my brother who he always be, on behalf of the owner of Simply in the Shade Catering, the co-owner of Second Line Express, Denver's mom, and the new the new Mrs. Ferrier, Quiche with the cakes. As I always say, be smart, be respectful, be patient. That includes being patient with yourself. Be kind to as many people as you possibly can. I know some people are going to make that impossible. Forget those people. Just take the time out every single day to be kind to yourselves, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. I'll see y'all next week, 9 o'clock, God willing. Till then, be safe. Stay